Okay, for the last of these kind of monotonous exercises, let's try and put to work, at least closer to work, some of the things that we've looked at. So what I want to do right now is I want to divide this page. I'm going to put a line up top, somewhere near the top. And then I'm going to come down, let's go, I don't know, about a third of the way down. Let's go another, not quite as far down. We're going to use these as zones with which to hatch. And then, I don't know, we'll figure out something. So let's start out. What I want you to do is I want you to use medium pin pressure. And I want you to hatch this area. Right now, I'm going to use the grid that's embedded in my sketchbook that might help give me some feedback as to how well my straight line. So kind of finding my optimal angle. It looks like today it's a little bit closer to 45 degrees, or at least right now. And I'm going to draw 3 or 4 lines and then push my book up. Now there are some things that I'm trying to think about here. One is it's easy to start my stroke at the right place. It's a little bit more difficult with this quick, fast gesture to end it in the right place. But again, we don't want to be perfect, but I do want you to try, because this is an exercise in practice, to start and stop on the lines that we drew. Now we use hatching to help render sketches. So to add shadow, maybe use hatching to define the material thickness in a section view. There's all kinds of reasons why we might use hatching. But there's a fairly simple, straightforward exercise. All right, let's angle our hatches. I find that when you're hatching, like we did over here for adding some kind of shaded value to your object, you don't necessarily want to draw it on a line that is on your perspective grid. So finding something other than that, and what you'll notice is this is almost halfway in between this vertical line and this angled line. All right, so I'm going to go about 45 degrees. This should be a 45 degree thing. I'm not as concerned. Let's go a little bit tighter than we did earlier. Here, the length is varying, so I have to kind of make some adjustments. There I've drawn a number of lines. I'm going to push it up, hatch a number more before I reposition my paper. Again, the angle is kind of set to what I feel like is an optimal angle. Here I've done kind of a medium to light pen pressure. All right, let's try some gradients and a couple of different approaches to gradients. So let's divide the bottom of this in half. And on this first one, let's apply a gradient with medium pen pressure. But let's start out by putting not much space in between each line, and as we move down towards the right side, or in this case, this side of this page, let's open up the distance in between each line. So let's start out really tight, like less than 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch or so, and as I move down the page, I'm going to try and put a little bit more distance in between each of the lines as I draw them. And what this is maybe doing, if you imagine kind of trying to shade a cylinder, this would be one way to shade a cylinder, where there's light coming in and hitting this, but as it rolls around, there's less light hitting this surface over here, so it's a little bit darker. Okay, let's try it different. Let's start out with, let's have consistent spacing on our lines, but let's start with heavy pressure and go to light pressure. So let's go about our grid, but I'm going to start with heavy pressure. And then start to lighten that pressure up a little bit as I approach the middle. So this exercise does a couple of things. One is it's a good practice. It helps you kind of just warm up, hitting that same gesture. It helps you with the starting and stopping of your pen, and it also helps you with pressure. So I recommend something like this as you sit down and get ready to sketch. As I've compared it to the golf swing before, this is like going to the driving range and taking a few swings before you head out to the course. Creating a few sketch strokes, gestures before you start to sketch your object.